I'm Bridget. I'm 28, and I come from a quiet little town where everyone knows each other and every family has a reputation to protect. My parents were deeply religious and very strict. From the time I was a child, they taught me that love was sacred, that marriage was meant for one man and one woman for life, and that I should guard my heart and my body until my wedding day. So I did exactly that. I never dated. I never went out with boys. While other girls were having fun, falling in and out of relationships, I was focused on my studies and my faith. People called me old-fashioned. Some even laughed at me. But I didn't mind. I believed I was saving myself for something real, something pure. Then, one afternoon, everything changed. I was sitting alone at a coffee shop, reading a book, when a man walked in and sat at the table next to me. He was confident, charming, and had a smile that made me nervous in a way I had never felt before. His name was Robert. He started talking to me like we had known each other for years. He complimented my dress, asked about my life, and listened to me in a way no one ever had. I felt seen. I felt special. And before I knew it, we were meeting almost every day. My friend Molly wasn't impressed. She warned me about him. She said Robert was known for playing with women's hearts, that he never stayed with one girl for long, and that I should be careful. But I didn't want to believe her. I wanted to think he was different with me. Soon, Robert was calling me every morning, sending me sweet messages, even surprising me with flowers. For the first time in my life, I felt like I was living inside the love story I had always dreamed about. Then one night, after he took me to a beautiful restaurant, he drove me home and stopped in front of my house. He looked at me, leaned closer, and kissed me. My very first kiss. I should have pulled away, but I didn't. In that moment, I forgot every rule my parents had ever taught me. I just felt happy. The next day, when we met again, I gathered my courage and told him I wanted to wait for marriage before going any further. He smiled and said something that changed everything. "Then let's get married." I was shocked, but I was also excited. I thought my patience had finally been rewarded. A few days later, he asked me to fly with him to Las Vegas so we could marry there. And I said yes. The flight to Las Vegas felt unreal, like I was stepping into the future I had always prayed for. Robert held my hand the entire time. He kept telling me how lucky he was to have found me, how I was different from every woman he had ever met. Hearing those words made my heart feel safe, and I believed that this was the man God had chosen for me. When we reached the city, everything was bright, loud, and overwhelming. I had never been anywhere like it. But Robert walked with confidence, like he owned the world, and I just followed him. I was wearing a simple white dress, no big wedding, no family, no friends, just the two of us and a small chapel on a busy street. It was quick. Too quick. But when the priest announced us husband and wife, I felt like my whole life had finally come together in that one moment. Robert kissed me and said, "Now you belong to me." I thought it was romantic. That night was supposed to be our wedding night, the beginning of our life together. I imagined we would talk about our dreams, our future, maybe even start planning where we would live. But Robert wasn't the same. He barely looked at me. He poured himself a drink, then another. His phone kept buzzing, and every time it did, he would walk into the bathroom or step outside to answer. I tried to ignore it. I told myself he was just tired or stressed from work. The next morning, he was already dressed when I woke up. He didn't smile. He didn't even say good morning. He just said, "I'm going out for a while." And then he left. Hours passed. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the door, waiting for my husband to come back. I had no idea where he went or why he hadn't told me anything. When he finally returned, his face was cold, distant, like I was a stranger he didn't recognize anymore. Then he said the words that shattered me. "I want a divorce." I thought he was joking. I laughed nervously, waiting for him to smile. He didn't. He told me I wasn't the woman he wanted, that I was too innocent, too plain, too small for his world, that marrying me had been a mistake. My chest felt like it was collapsing. I didn't understand how a man who had promised me love just days ago could suddenly throw me away like I meant nothing. I begged him to talk to me, to explain what I had done wrong, but he walked out of that room without another word. And he never came back. I returned home alone, and everything I thought I knew about love was gone. Coming back home was like stepping into a nightmare. My parents were furious. They couldn't understand why I had rushed into marriage. They said I had brought shame to the family, and that I had been careless with my heart and my future. I felt crushed. The man I had trusted, the man I thought was my destiny, had abandoned me. And now my family, the people I loved most, were angry with me too. I had nowhere to turn. That's when Molly stepped in. She gave me a place to stay in her apartment, encouraged me to find work, and reminded me that I wasn't alone. With her support, I started picking up the pieces of my life. I got a job at a bookstore, surrounded by books and quiet mornings that gave me space to think and heal. One afternoon, while shelving magazines, a cover caught my eye. It was Robert, but not the man I thought I knew. He was smiling at a glamorous party with a beautiful woman on his arm. The headline read, "Business Tycoon Robert Sinclair's Secret Life Revealed." My hands shook as I read the story. He was rich, powerful, famous. He had hidden everything from me. The man who had kissed me and promised me marriage had used me to play a game I didn't even know existed. Anger replaced the pain. I realized I didn't want sympathy. I didn't want to cry over someone who had never respected me. I wanted justice. I went to a lawyer and showed him the papers from our wedding in Las Vegas. My marriage was legal. I had rights. I asked for financial support, not out of greed, but to reclaim what he had left me without: security, dignity, and a sense of fairness. When Robert received the notice, he called. His voice was sharp, angry. "Do you really think you can take anything from me?" he spat. I held my ground. "You took my heart. Now I'm taking what's mine," I said. The case went public. Reporters asked questions. Cameras followed me. But I didn't feel scared anymore. I was determined. Finally, the court ruled in my favor. Robert had to compensate me. The money wasn't just for my survival. It was a statement. He couldn't hurt people and walk away without consequences. After the case, my parents reached out. They told me they forgave me, that they understood I had made a mistake, but had also shown courage. I thanked them, but I knew I had changed too much to return to the life I had before. I used the money to buy a small apartment and went back to my studies. My life was completely different now, but I was free. I still believed in love, but I understood that love without respect is fragile. Every time I saw Robert's face in the media, I felt nothing but calm. My soul had stayed intact. The pain had not destroyed me. It had made me stronger. I had learned that love could be beautiful, but self-respect and dignity must always come first. I was no longer a girl waiting for her first kiss or a perfect wedding. I was a woman who knew her worth, who had survived betrayal, and who was ready to build her own life on her own terms. I was free.